Hey everybody, welcome to this Pink Cloud. We are a show that is about mental health, recovery, multiple pathways to recovery, all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe. We're streaming on all major platforms, and you can watch the videos on the YouTubes and on Spotify. Anyway, I am excited to have this guy on. He is a longtime friend. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, recently, I find out that he's like the fucking Tony Hawk of paintball. And just this whole time, I had no clue. But he's, let's see, longtime friend, promoter, paintball god, also talent. He's got an agency called PureForm Agency. But everybody give it up for my good bud, Chris Lasoya. How are you, dude?
Fantastic, Kelly. Fantastic, man. It's always good to see your face, as always.
Yeah, well, likewise. And thanks for coming on.
Of course.
And, dude, yeah, like, so, funny story, and I'll just tell the audience this. I have a friend in Greece, Teopas, and his brother's like a paintball junkie, right? And then I was talking to him and telling him, I was like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm going to be signing with this guy, Chris Lasoya, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he used to work for Sleeping Giant and XYZ. And then his brother's like the paintball Chris Lasoya. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe. And so that's how I found, like, I literally did the math, like, I mean, maybe 3-6 months ago, something like that, but that's hilarious. So why don't you kind of, I guess, give the backstory? You can kind of tell how we met, and then I'm fascinated because I don't know the whole paintball saga, so I want to definitely hear how that journey or conspired, would that be it? And how you got to the level of where you are, you know?
Yeah, man, I try to keep my two lives separate, because I've been in the
by the way, you're doing a good job.
I've been in the concert, the event industry for since '98, whatever, something like that. You and I actually met. I started playing paintball in '86, and I started doing events. I've always gone to events, but I figured I could do it better. And I started doing my own events in like 99, 98. And you and I...
That was it was at Denver?
Yeah, right? It was in Denver, correct.
Okay.
So you and I had... I booked a show. We started a new series called the Element Series, my partner Alan and I. Mm-hmm. And we had Vicious Vic, Dave Auday, and yourself on this show. It was at the Azalon Theater, Denver, Colorado.
Nice.
And you and I had met back then, and instantly we became pretty good friends.
Right.
We got along really well, and you had a great set. And
were you using paintball money to fund the parties?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean,
that's cool. I had no clue.
Yeah, everybody had their ideas about what I did, because I would disappear for a couple of weeks and then come back. And,
right.
So everybody's. I let everybody.
He's a mule.
Yeah,
he's a mule. Everybody. He's going to Canada, dude.
Yeah, had new cars and always had the coolest stuff, and
right.
And people made their own assumptions, and I just let them roll with it. Some of them were funny, some of them were so far out there. I was like, I'm not even entertaining that one.
Right.
But being in that industry with you, and just you were just fire back then, and as you are now with your new tracks coming out and everything. And we made a life of it, because I needed a getaway from a getaway, if that's a thing, because paintball is a real job, and it's very challenging because you can relate to living out of a suitcase in hotels and airports, and
right.
Yeah, it was just
not as sexy as it looks on TV.
No, I was gone 200 and some odd days a year, and
yeah, I can only imagine.
And when I was home, I was throwing parties, and those are
right.
Those are a process within itself. So, it was very challenging, but I had the best of both worlds. I played paintball, And, I'm throwing events, meeting a lot of cool people. I'm still good friends with yourself, with Vicious Vic. A lot of people on the roster are friends of mine, because I do have longevity in this industry. But paintball was funding everything at the time because I was making a lot of money playing paintball.
Well, and the cool thing with paintball is you're traveling around, so you get to go meet all these different people in all these different scenes. So,
yeah. I mean,
that's cool too.
I was in Amsterdam. I went to who was its engagement party? It wasn't Fetty Legrand. It was somebody up there. I think Armand Van Buren.
Okay.
Or somebody. It was one of those guys.
Well, we're not going to fact check you, so we'll just go with Armand.
Yeah.
Because that sounds good.
It was at a club in Amsterdam.
Right.
Most random place ever.
I helped Armand Van Buren actually launch Armada, and
yeah, that'd be amazing.
Right.
So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun back then, and you and I met through that event, and we've been in touch ever since.
Sure.
And we stayed in touch here and there, but not every day kind of thing. But you're one of those friends that I can call after a year, and it's not like skipping a beat.
Sure.
So
yeah. Well, that's cool. So then the paintball started in 86. So how does it ramp up? When were you, at, so to speak, the top of the game?
Paintball really didn't get big until around, I'd say, the early 90's.
Okay.
It was around in the late 80's, and there was stuff going on here and there, but it started getting more popular in the mid 90's.
Okay.
I'm not really exactly sure how I got positioned in the way I did. It's just there's always sponsors out there, and they're always looking for the next best thing, or who's the poster boy, or who's this or who's that. And I was just a party animal maniac that threw parties. And
well, I've seen some interviews of you with the ponytail, dude, with the sweet ponytail, and going, dude, when I get out there, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut in. I'll have to cut in like a little montage of you like talking shit on there, because it's like very MTV styled shot, and then it's like Chris Lasoya and I fucking hate you, man. That kind of shit, dude. It's cool.
I was a total asshole, man.
Right.
I went out there. I liked hurting people. I really did.
Okay.
And, that's just why paintball was kind of. I was drawn to paintball. It was a lot of fun, and man, I made some really good friends between this industry, the paintball industry, and the music industry. I've made a lot of good friends, and like yourself, you could probably go anywhere in the world and know somebody somewhere.
Right.
Just a phone call, and like you said, people overseas are, hey, come over, stay at my place, or
yeah.
It's just.
Well, you actually get recognized out in public.
Yeah, it's not as much prevalent as it used to be, because obviously, that was my heyday. Was like you said, prime was late 90's to about 2015, right around there.
Okay.
But then I tore my ACL in Paris, and I never came back the same from that. And then I tore it again. And
yeah, man. I mean, it is legitimately a sport, and there's because you're going for it in paintball. Because I watched a little bit, and I was like, this shit's insane.
Yeah,
man.
it definitely did a toll on me.
Right.
As I just had a new hip replacement. I got both hips replaced. Right. Within the past since April. So I just getting old sucks. That.
Well, yeah. But I mean, the thing is nobody realizes how hard that it is on your body, I guess, unless they're really into the sport.
Right.
And man, I was like, oh yeah, like when you're full on head diving, it's like, it's like football moves. So, those type of injuries are, I guess, commonplace in paintball. I just think of somebody hiding behind a tree and going pew pew, but no, it's like fucking all out warfare, like real bullets flying and carnage, if you will.
It's pretty crazy. People have a misconception of what it really is. Of course they still play in the woods, and it's kind of military-ish, but it's come out of that and into its own. We're on ESPN now.
Right. Yeah. So you travel around actually doing commentary, right?
Yeah. I do a lot of the podcasts. I do a lot of the commentary for the edited, webcast. You see a lot of webcasts out these days with concerts or, with sporting events or whatever it might be, insert anything here, tossing bags or
right.
any
I make fun, I made a joke about you being a regular on the Ocho.
Oh yeah,
The ESPN,
yes.
the Ocho.
We were just on the Ocho actually.
Right.
We were stuck between wiffle ball and like this T-ball or something. I can't remember.
Right.
But it's
like that, and then bass fishing is shortly after that, right? Competitive bass fishing.
We're breaking the mold, though.
Right. Well, no, and I think that's cool that there is still, like such an interest for it, and that you're essentially one of like the OGs of the sport.
Yeah, I've seen it transpire, just like you've seen the music industry transform itself into what it's become today. I mean, back when we were doing events and you played for me at that one party, if you did 800 people, that was huge. That was a big party.
Oh yeah.
And I think for your part we did like 1,000. A big party back then, like in Denver when we did our biggest party, was probably 5,000. But now, I mean, 5,000 is like a Tuesday.
Yeah, sure.
Because just like anything else, it snowballs into something so big.
Right.
Like the World Cup of Paintball that comes into Kissimmee, Orlando area.
Well, it becomes a business.
It is
what it is.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a business, and then business people get involved and do it much better than a 20-year-old Chris Lasoya.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So they get involved, and then it becomes a business, which honestly, the whole DJ scene has become or evolved, and I saw it happening, but where the DJ used to be the guy by the bathroom, over here.
Yeah.
And it was cool. People would come by and go, dude, I love that track or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, you have to be up there and you actually have to perform now.
Yep.
Because you're the center of attention, whereas you were just audibly the center of attention. Now you are physically the rock band, what people are focusing on. And I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I have to have choreography now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta talk with my choreographer before my set, and we're gonna work on a couple of routines. Gonna dial that one in a little bit more. I think instead of the fist pump, I'm just gonna do the Solomon hand raise instead of the fist pump. Yeah, exactly. But it's funny how it's become that. But I mean, I think it's cool. But I did see that coming. When it started becoming so business oriented, and now there's it's worldwide. Whereas and that's another thing that's kind of different about now is it used to be kind of regional, but now with the internet and everything and Spotify and all the different streaming platforms, it's like boom, all of a sudden you're relevant in Kiev, Ukraine, out of nowhere. So it's just it's a different game, but I think it's cool. I think it's cool because now your music can resonate worldwide, whereas it was US, Canada, that was it.
Well, and the tools that are available now to artists like yourself and agents like myself,
right,
that I can't imagine if they were around back in the Paul Morris AM only days. I mean, that
nice shout out, Paul Morris, AM only.
That guy was the guy.
Yeah, he was the roster you wanted to be on.
If you were on AM only, you might as well not any plane.
Yeah, because he had guys. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like repping Carl Cox. And,
everybody,
the big dogs back then.
Yeah, all those guys.
Yeah, Paul Van Dyke.
But then you had like Pam DJs. She was around for.
Yeah, and I love Pam Film. Shout out Pam Film.
Yeah, I miss her. She's a.
And Michelle Levy.
I spoke to her the other day. She's great. And
well, you'll have to tell her I said
I will for sure. It's nice that that I was able to bridge the gap between my paintball doings and my event consulting and what I did for events.
Right. Yeah. How the worlds merged.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I mean,
well, okay. So let's talk about, because I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you have something you were saying?
Nope. Go ahead.
You're all good?
Yep.
But I was going to say that, because you and I have had this conversation kind of several times. And I mean, we both had kind of different trajectories, paths, like, I mean, I've talked about mine often, like where basically I couldn't pivot as a producer, and vinyl was my calling card. So when the MP3 came out, then that kind of took away my marketing, and I wasn't proficient enough to to put out the level of production you needed. And then basically, you get in a mental headspace where you start feeling sorry for yourself. You have that little pity party. I used to be this, and that kind of thing. But then you do whatever it takes to keep the lights on. So I started falling back to doing open format, and then eventually alcohol I was using to mask my anxiety. And then it became, it was great, and it was great until it wasn't. It wasn't a problem until it was a problem, kind of thing. And I know that you kind of had a similar thing to do with that, as far as pain management and stuff like that. And I want to get to that, but I want to throw the commercial real quick.
Are you an old fool who's so cool like us? Funky Gold is a network of skilled and hardworking DFW DJs over 40. We gather to create a mutually supportive environment for all members who are doing big things. Our DJs are leaders in the community who bring special skills and opportunities to share. We strive for professionalism in the music business, and we have hearts of gold. Not to mention we have the coolest swag and the funkiest headquarters. If you're interested in learning more about joining the crew, connect with us on Instagram, YouTube, or Gmail at Funky Gold Network.
All right, and that is our new sponsor. Love the Funky Gold Network. Appreciate you guys. Also, we have some new music out, and here that is. All right, and that is some new stuff. Be sure and follow Kelly Reverb on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. And follow the podcast while you're there. This Pink Cloud. Anyway, yeah, but we've got some good stuff going on with the music. And, I mean, you're well aware. I mean, we just got some love from Steve Aoki, so I'm excited about that. And a couple of key supports by, people named Lesso and Gorgon City and
those guys.
Stuff like that. Yeah, whatever. But okay, so we were talking about how you were kind of using it as pain management, and I mean, I was using it as anxiety management. But like, let's talk about like how how it started, and then where it kind of wound up to be where you finally said, "Hey, enough is enough."
Well, and it's funny because when I was younger, like I went to high school with Kelly Slater.
Okay.
So we grew up in Cocoa Beach together. We surfed, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really rad actually.
Yeah.
But I never really got into any drugs or any alcohol or anything back then. Mm-hmm. Then I went in the military.
I did not know that.
Yeah, went in the military right out of high school. And
where did you? What branch?
I was in the Army. And
okay, well, thank you for your service.
Thanks, buddy. I went in and I worked in S2, which is security. So I did all like the security clearances and stuff for Fort Carson, in Colorado. So I mean, it was cool. It was nice, but I started drinking around then.
Okay. As a lot of us do.
Yeah, I always started play. I always played paintball. So I started back playing paintball again, I had this certain persona or image that people had, you know, the bad boy image or whatever that people had made up in their mind. So
you were like the WWE bad guy.
Exactly.
Right.
And I played that part mainly because it was what I was supposed to be in everybody's mind. You know me personally, so it's a little hard to kind of get stuff like that by you because you know I'm not like that.
Right.
But you know, for the people that are just that they have certain, you know, an idea or perception of what somebody is, and then perception in their mind is reality. So I'm playing the part, and I'm drinking, and you know, I'm doing this and doing that, and everything is readily available. It's not like I'm paying for it. You know, same thing in the concert industry. You know, it's right there. I mean, between that and drugs and whatever it might be, it's not hard to get, and you're not paying for it because you're in a position of authority or people like you or whatever it might be, and they're just giving it to you.
Yeah.
So, you know, saying no is not my strong suit.
Right. The best kind of alcohol and cocaine is free.
Yes,
alcohol
exactly.
And cocaine. Yeah.
You know, but I started doing that. So we drank a lot and had a persona, and you know, it wasn't bad at first. You know,
I gotta hold on real quick. So did you have like a catchphrase or anything like that? You know how like Macho Man Savage and like
no, I didn't.
That would be rad if you had a catchphrase.
Yeah, dude. No, I didn't quite get into that portion of it.
All right.
I let everything speak for itself.
Your catchphrase was "fuck that dude."
Yeah.
I will destroy him.
Put him in the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
So, you know, like I said, everything started off slow. It really wasn't that big of a deal. And then, you know, I started getting into the events, and then that's where like the Molly came, and then the Coke came, because it really wasn't very prevalent as it was these days. You look around now, and I can look at anybody and go, "You're on this, you do that," because you just know.
Oh yeah, you're rolling tits, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I never really got into anything hard. It was always like Coke or Molly, alcohol, obviously, which is pretty much a drug.
Sure. Well, I mean, I just say I got the memo on heroin and crystal meth.
Yeah, and
I got that. Your shelf life is not going to be that long.
Yeah,
you're not going to successfully navigate those two substances. So just stick with the air quote controllable stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
And the funny thing is I've never been one to take like prescription pills. I don't take like the because those are the real bad things for you.
Oh yeah.
And I've never been one to take those. So as I got more into my paintball career, and then you know the concerts and everything, even doing concerts is a very physical. Because you're doing building the stages and carrying this and falling off the forklift or whatever. You know, my body's taken a beating over the years, and I mean, I was in so much pain. In order to get through the day, I literally would get out of bed, walk right to the fridge, and drink a glass of wine right away.
Right.
Or vodka and soda or whatever.
Well, so what year did that start?
I couldn't tell you. It was.
I mean, ballpark like 10 years.
It was 20 years ago, easy.
Oh, 20 years ago. Okay,
I'm over
cool.
50 now. So it was like mid-20s. It was mid-20s probably.
Right.
I'd say around between 25 to 30 area.
Okay.
But you know you get so drunk that you know you have the shakes. The next day you have you're looking at your phone and your hand's shaking and your eyes are all yellow, and the only way to get rid of that is not the only way. The only way is to stop drinking totally and never do it.
Right.
But at the moment is
the fun way
is to have another drink. So I'd have 2 drinks right away. It'd set me straight again.
It is it is what I like to affectionately term drinking your way out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
AKA righting the ship.
I knew, that's exactly the way it is too.
Right.
You know, and I knew I was in trouble. You know, I never really lied to myself, but I definitely would candy coat it to everybody else.
Oh yeah.
You know, because only my true friends would come out and say something to me. And hey man, you know, my true friends, and you can count those on 1 or 2 hands. You know, my wife would say something, of course, because she was worried about it and whatnot. And I remember getting up in the morning and I would automatically I'd have to throw up right away.
Yeah.
Just because I was going through withdrawals, alcohol withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew right then, I'm in trouble. There's a problem here. And I knew I needed to stop because my body's telling me you have to stop, but I didn't. I couldn't.
Sure.
And I remember.
Well, it was the solution, you know, like, I mean, it becomes, you know, your answer or your temporary answer for a lot of things. Like, you know, we were talking like with my anxiety, you know, it fixes it. Yes. But for a short time.
Yep.
And then, you know, it creates repeat customers, let's say.
Yeah, 100%. You know, that's a good way to put it. I was never one to hide it from people, or like, you know, hiding the bottles in my own house kind of person. But what I would do, and this is just as big of a problem, is I'd go to my parents' house, but I'd bring a bottle with me, and I'd drink my bottle in my room. So they never, you know, I'm 28, 30 years old at this time, you know.
Right.
And I'd drink in front of them with their alcohol, but I'd go drink the rest of mine in my room so they wouldn't know how much I was actually consuming.
Okay.
And so that's just as bad as hiding it, in my opinion.
Well, no, that is hiding.
Yeah.
That is hiding.
But I knew, that's when I knew there's a real problem. And,
right.
You know,
well, just so you know, I started to do that as well. Like I would do, okay, here's the public consumption. Like here's our alcohol cabinet, right? Mm-hmm. We have X amount of vodka in here. So there's the dummy bottle, and then there's the Kelly bottle. Right. You know, just like it sounds like what you had. You had the Chris bottle,
right?
Yeah.
And when I'm managing nightclubs, and I was in a position that I was the responsible one. One thing I did do, and I have to give myself credit because it got to the point where I just had to do this. I would take a Jack bottle and put iced tea in it, and that way, everybody that wanted to buy me a shot, I'd take them to my bartender, and I'd have them pour me a shot of iced tea, Jack, because I wanted them to think I was partaking and having fun and doing whatever.
Right, so you didn't want to be socially.
I still had to function,
so to speak. Right,
I had to count money, and I had to be responsible. And you know, I have 50 people working for me, and the cops show up, and somebody gets stabbed, or insert over here. You know, you're asking for trouble if you've been drinking. But it doesn't mean I wasn't. I was still drinking. I was trying not to get myself inebriated, so I couldn't.
You were maintaining.
Somebody called me that I respect very, very well, and. I mean, I was housed and just doing work and making. You would never know it unless you knew.
Yeah, you were a high functioning alcoholic.
He said you're the most functional alcoholic I've ever met in my life.
Right.
That's exactly what he said. So you know the deal.
I have been a functional alcoholic.
That's not a compliment.
Well, it
kind of is.
It is to a certain degree that you can keep your shit together, but it is just that, you know, and it's just. It's a tough facade to keep up.
Right. No, it is. It's very trying.
Especially on your family.
Yes.
And people that love you.
Yeah.
Know the truth.
I went to vacation with my parents, my dad, and my mom, my wife, of course. We went down to Mexico. And it was a high stress. It was right for New Year's Eve. And we had like 40 events New Year's Eve one year. And I was super stressed out, and I shouldn't have went to the vacation anyway because I had a lot of work to do. And I'm down there working, and my partner's having a fit because I went on vacation. So I just drank the idiocy away for my partner. And I'm right. We're coming home from a restaurant. I ate shit and face planted in front of my parents, of all people. And I was like, man, that's not a good look. And my dad's like a super. I mean, we're Irish and Indian, you know, we're so it's not like, not like we don't drink, but you know, my dad is a very logical, smart individual, and you know, he'll drink, but he's a very mature individual.
Sure. Well, I mean, some people can, you know, handle, you know, alcohol or drink, air quote, normally.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's a sliding rule, you know, that's a sliding scale for a lot of people. Like, I mean, what's your definition of normal? Well, you know,
that's the thing.
And ours just happened to be at the top performance level. We were overachievers.
I'm drinking 20 drinks a day.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then I started, well, I'll just drink wine, that whole rigmarole.
Yeah, dude, the old dial it back, dude, with wine, and you're like 10 bottles later. You're like, that's an expensive hobby, man.
And so changes. You're a product of your environment, and I'm a strong believer in that. As long as you're not strong enough to control yourself. Now, as I got older, I started realizing that, hey, man, I got to stop. This is just got to stop. And you and I had spoke. Well, how did you do it? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
The process of me quitting was I went to a festival, and I was working.
Okay.
I was running all the operations, and I mean, these are festivals. We're talking. These are. I get there at 6:30 in the morning. I go at 2 a.m. and repeat 5 days in a row.
Right.
It's no joke, and it's
sure,
especially when your body is hurting. Like,
can I ask what festival, or would you rather not say?
Oh, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, insert any festival here.
Okay.
But this was a bigger 2-day festival, and I mean, nothing went wrong. I mean, except that I drank and I did like I normally do. But when I got home, I normally was exhausted, which is understandable. But this went on for a couple days, and I was like, man, I'm not sure what's going on. And then I was like, I'm just going to stop by urgent care just to kind of see what's going on a little bit.
Okay.
And I ended up in the hospital right there. And
so why did you go by urgent care? What was wrong?
It's just because when you drink so much, you get like ascites, and what that is, it's a fluid buildup in the stomach area. It makes you feel, it makes you look fat, bloated, whatever.
Sure.
What it is just there's nowhere for certain waste to go, and it goes into your stomach cavity and behind all your organs, and that's why you see people. They call it a beer belly, but it's not. It's ascites, and it's not healthy at all.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
Sure.
That, and then also, what do they call jaundice? My eyes were really yellow, and my skin was a little tinted, but not quite yellow yet. But I got my blood taken, and man, I've learned a lot about my blood and everything in the past, year that I've been, not drinking. And I was not in a good spot, put it that way.
Right. What did the doctor say? Like, they got your blood work, and did he say, how much do you drink?
Yeah, pretty much. He goes, what do you think?
Right.
2, 3 a day? And I was like, oh, absolutely not.
20, 30 a day.
I'll do at least 10 a day every day for 20 years. That's a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not even kidding.
I'm just nodding my head in agreement, and I understand how it just becomes that, and you have no intention for it to become that, but it's the only solution that you know.
Yeah, but like we said,
and it's a learned behavior.
Product to your environment.
Right.
So what we did, my wife and I, we were like, let's just, we were living in California at the time. We're like, let's just move. So we moved out to Florida for numerous reasons besides California being a shithole. But we moved out here, and then, I one day I was like, I'm done drinking. And I just stopped.
Right.
And I haven't had a sip of alcohol since. So
that's impressive that you just quit. Yeah. So, but I mean, was there a defining moment that, made you want to quit? Like something so cringy that you were like, this has got to stop, or was it just an accumulation?
It was just I got to get my shit together. I got tired of being sick all the time. Just
tired, as they say, sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was dropping the ball on certain, aspects of business, and it just there was nothing positive about any of it.
Sure.
So, I just stopped. And
well, I mean, not every, that's impressive because not everybody can do that.
Right. And
because it's a definitely, a huge lifestyle change, and a huge, because I think, you probably experienced this as well. We all tried to dial it back, And, some of us just can't do that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Some of us, I always say we just want to get there. Right. But
Yes.
it seems we overshoot that every
Missed
time.
it by that much.
Right. Exactly. Oh, there went my exit. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, another thing is that, as we had mentioned, I got my hips done, recently. And, when you go into surgery, they do blood work, and your blood has got to be a certain level. And they put off some surgeries for me that I was in pain for, that I was drinking to get rid of the pain. But because I was drinking, I couldn't get surgery because my levels were so far off. They're like, yeah, I can't help you until you stop. Dude, you got to
dial it back so you don't bleed out on our table. Yeah, right.
100%. Yeah. And, after I did stop, I got both hips done now.
Okay.
So, I mean, and, like I said, it was that mask or to stop the pain from just the everyday pain. And it worked, at what expense, it's hard to tell.
Sure. Yeah. What carnage did I leave in my wake?
That's another thing. I hate waking up and going and trying to recall and saying, okay, who do I?
Yeah.
Checking your text messages. Figuring out who you have to apologize to.
Right.
This is stupid shit,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much just it's across the board for anybody like yourself, or, it's like, oh, yep, did that. Yep, did that. Yep, did that. Shouldn't have done that. It's just, and then forget about the financial portion of it. It's like smokers, packs of cigarettes are like $10 and they stop smoking. It's no different than drinking. Drinking is
the drinking got very expensive, and especially, if you're a man of taste and you're doing the whole wine route. So I'm going to disguise this as culture.
Yeah.
What it's so funny when people do that. I'm like, okay, you're just an alcoholic.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
You just drink really expensive shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But It's funny because I became, a prisoner where I had to carry around, the Ozarka bottle, but it had vodka in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because it travels the best, and but you do that because, hey, if I have an anxiety attack, that's my cure.
Yeah.
That's my cure. That's what's going to do it. And it sounds like the same with you for pain. It's just like, okay, cool. I need to do something. And I mean, shit, dude, let's be honest. Prince did that too. Prince was doing that, but he was doing that with pills, and he just happened to get some street shit that had fentanyl in it and probably overdosed, which, that's speculation. But that's probably how it went down because you're in a tremendous amount of pain from sports injuries. So then did you dial it back and then get the surgery done and then start back up, or did you?
No, I just stopped.
How did it go?
I just stopped.
Okay.
I just stopped altogether. And, that was back in July last year.
Right. Well, and I think because maybe you're one of those types of people, because a lot of people drink because they have baggage, they have PTSD, they got heavy, like abuse or a myriad of things that happen to them that they're masking by using alcohol or substances to push that down so they don't feel that. Whereas you and I didn't have like a whole bunch of trauma. Doesn't sound like you did either, but you were using it to mask your physical pain, and I was using it to mask my anxiety. So, either way, it's not an easy thing to just quit. So that's kind of cool that you were able to do that.
Yeah. And also one thing I did to myself to solidify that fact is I didn't take myself out of situations that I put myself in, like going to a bar, going to a festival, going to a nightclub, hanging out with the same people, or, having alcohol in the house. And just to see would even it affect me, and it has not affected me at all. There's always wine here. There's always something to drink in the house, and it doesn't bother me.
Right.
I go with my friends.
They're not going to stop selling it on your behalf.
Exactly.
Right.
And I go with friends, and friends are really supportive because they're like, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want anything.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, cool, no problem. Because they knew what I was, and now,
right.
Now I'm
well, and so you've basically, and it's not like you're probably day counting or anything, but you've gotten like a year under your belt, right?
Yeah,
or how long has it been?
372. But who's counting?
Yeah, 300. Okay, so you do have a sobriety date.
Yeah, no, I actually
cool.
got this little cool thing. Oh, it's 381.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, dude, that's big. That's huge. That's a year, dude.
Yeah, man.
So, and you notice now you actually get shit done.
I get up in the morning.
Your completion rate has gone through the roof.
My wife helps me get out of bed. She kicks me in the morning, right. So I get up, with her little help. But like the whole sleep until noon is gone. The forgetting things is not all the way gone, but I chalk that up to old age if I do something.
Right.
But I'm not waking up thinking about what something stupid I did the night before, or who to piss off, or insert any negative. Here, so
right. What fire do I have to extinguish today?
That was the worst.
What did I do last night?
That was the worst part. And you start drinking just to not think about it.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, for sure, dude. Like, well, and it got to a point for me, like where it was like, blacking out like on the decks, like pulling a Kyoki, dude.
I was just going to say that. Right. I was going to do the same.
Right. And I love Kyoki, and he's a good friend of mine, but he had a reputation back in the day.
He was fun
for blacking out on the decks.
We knocked over two 1200s and a mixer that were on cinder blocks at the theater I was doing an after party at.
Right.
And it did that. That was it was kind of funny.
Well, no, that was back when it was Rockstar.
Yeah, but this is like 5 in the morning. I was ready to go home anyway, so it didn't matter.
Right.
But yeah, we've all been there, man. I mean,
sure.
If we can just pass on the knowledge to help somebody else out along.
Right. And that's the thing. I'm not like a teetotaler or anything, or I don't tell anybody not to do this, but I'm just saying, and I don't necessarily look back with regret, but I also, I had to go through the experience in order to have the knowledge that I have now, that, it can become a problem unintentionally. And it sounds like you and I had similar situations where it's like we didn't sign up for that, but we became a prisoner of that. And we became, a slave to, that, the alcohol, because it helped. It was the temporary fix. And another thing I wanted to get to is like when, but I didn't notice until I went to rehab. And when I went to rehab, then I had like that 15 days. And then I was like, you know what? The anxiety level, the panic attacks have gone like almost non-existent. Like I'll still have one every once in a while, but it's nowhere all day, every day like it was.
It's manageable. So.
Yeah, it's manageable, and it's okay to feel uncomfortable because life can be uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah,
it's not a normal thing to talk in front of a crowd.
Well, there has been times I'm like, man, I need a drink.
Yeah. Hey, me too. Me too.
I don't pull the trigger on it, but man, there's some
right, because we don't know where that could lead up.
Yeah, there's no a drink in my vocabulary.
Right. Right. Well, and that's the $1 million question. And do you want to roll the dice?
Yeah.
And it's just like I had a fantastic drinking career until it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, 35 plus years of drinking. Yeah. Drink when it's slow. Oh, drink when it's busy. Drink when you're sad. Drink when you're happy.
Yeah.
It's just like, at some point, the liver and your body just period needs a break, and you get that shitty alcohol sleep and all that kind of stuff. But so, I know that you and I were talking beforehand. So you were talking something about peptides and how that actually helps your physical recovery now. And I know they're a sponsor of yours. So let's talk about that. And then I also want to talk about the agency, of course, that the Golden Boy is on.
I love it. Yeah, the peptides. Everybody's starting to see them everywhere. They're popping up on Instagram feeds, and you're hearing Joe Rogan talk about them. I wasn't very educated on them. I'm still barely educated on them, but I'm getting like the BPC 157, the TV 500, or there's peptides out there for everything: hair growth, or anxiety, or muscle build, or whatever. But the ones that I had take for my sponsor, and this is specially formulated for me in particular because he knows what's wrong with my body.
Right.
And I got one hit done, and it's an injectable, but it's like one of those little tiny insulin needles. So and I'm a total pussy when it comes to needles.
Right.
So an insulin needle doesn't bother me too bad. But I went to do my post-op for my one hip when I first got it done, and the doctor was just actually astonished at the amount of recovery I've had overall. I was like 30 days ahead of schedule.
Oh, wow.
Just because of the peptides. It's good for gut health, joints, your anxiety. It's just an overall wonder drug.
Okay. I want to do some research on that, but who is the company that sponsors?
Pro Peptides. You can go to Pro.
Okay.
It's an Arizona sports medicine. They're out of Phoenix, and you can go to propeptides.com, and there's a lot of information on there, and they have everything under the sun will be on there. You can also.
Well, I definitely want to talk to them as well because, like you said, there's peptides for anxiety. I'm like, that would be great.
There's oral pills too. You can take orally. Not quite the range and broad range of stuff that they have, but certain in particular things. Just the pills they take longer to hit. They don't work as effectively, I believe he said.
Sure.
I just wanted the express lane to feel better. And it really does help my overall recovery, not just with my hip, but with all my joints, my sleep. Everything.
Well, and imagine if you had something like this, so to speak, back in the day, maybe you wouldn't have become, so dependent on alcohol for your solution, probably I would have.
Then I'd have two problems.
Yeah, right. Right.
I'm not.
But I mean, the peptides are holistic, so it's not doing necessarily any damage to your body.
And that's why the big pharmacies are really trying to get after it, because it's definitely biting into their bottom line.
Right.
Because it really does. I'm a snake oil kind of guy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll give it a shot.
I will. Yeah, me too. I'm open-minded to try, things that might help better my living.
Yeah, and it really, really helped out a lot. So I don't miss a day. I don't miss a day of it now. I mean, thanks to my sponsor, he sends me out stuff on the regular.
Dude, Chris is whacked out of his minds on peptides today, dude.
Well, and that's another thing. I'm sure you noticed this as well. I get up in the morning, with the wife. She helps me, as I mentioned. Right. And I'm not as tired as I usually was. The whole getting ready to go out at 10 p.m. I'm sleeping by 10 p.m. now. Unless I have to go out and see you or something like that.
Right.
Because of the agency. But, the lifestyle changes. I'm not foggy. Everything's pretty clear. I make some good decisions as opposed to not good decisions.
Sure.
And
right. As opposed to questionable.
Yeah. It shows in the end result of a lot of projects that I'm working on, because they get done quicker, they get done more efficient. There's less mistakes.
Right.
And I don't rely on other people like I was leaning on, because I know that I wasn't gonna be able to do it because I'm too fucking intoxicated to handle that.
Right.
Handle this or, and so I'd put somebody else on it that could do it. But that's not fair to them. And, it's not a good look to me either. So,
Right.
I mean, it's
well. Hey, so I was gonna say let's talk about that, because now you have. I know you used to work for Sleeping Giant, and I can say that, and I mean I think that's common knowledge.
Yep.
But then I know that you've gone on to create your own agency, which is PureForm Artist Management.
Yep.
And which I am a proud member of. And you also have some people that I respect on there, like Bad Boy Bill. We've got Disco Fries, Ghetto Blaster, Tommy Sunshine. Oh, Chris Diaz, right?
Yeah, Chris Garcia.
Chris Garcia. I did it again.
You do it all the time.
But anyway, and then you also have a few others that I'm missing.
Yeah.
But, it's a well-respected lineup, at least to me. It's kind of a who's who. And the cool thing is you have been in that arena before, so you still have a lot of the connections, and how the behind the scenes works, and hey, okay, I've got this talent, I can plug them here and here, and so why don't you go ahead and tell a little bit of the back history of that, and I mean I don't even know how long ago you launched.
So I got really tired of throwing parties. Not just from the financial stress of it,
right,
but from just the overall time it took. The return, the ROIs just weren't there like they used to be, because a lot of these, there's no room for a small promoter these days
for the little guy.
Yeah, and this is
well, like we were saying earlier, it became a business, and businessmen can do it much better than one dude. Yeah, exactly.
But and the problem is what I was finding. The dates are always super important to throw a party, as you very well know. I had the luxury of being the top dog back when I did start doing it back in the 2000s, 2001 area. Mm-hmm. So I picked my dates, and I didn't care what anybody else thought.
Right.
Well, I'm not the big dog anymore, and it hasn't been for quite some time. You got the Insomniacs, Disco Donnie, Thomas Turner.
Yeah. Shout out Disco Donnie.
Yeah,
though,
that
guy. He's impressive.
He's He's one of the coolest people in the universe. If anybody's ever met him, knows.
Yeah,
the guy is.
And it's amazing where he came from, throwing parties in New Orleans.
Yep.
To this massive entrepreneur who's highly successful, and I hope he still will always be a part of the game.
He's never changed. He's always been the same person since the day one. I met him at the State Palace in New Orleans.
Yeah, likewise.
For Zulu Fest. That guy, man, I couldn't even tell you what year it was. It had to be 25 years ago. It was a long time ago. But I mean, he took me in open arms, because I knew Sasha and Digweed at the time, and some of the other guys. And Savage, I think, was there. Just Vicious Vic. I mean, anybody, because he had the biggest lineups.
Right.
Then.
Sure.
And he's always just been a super nice guy. I didn't see him for years and years and years, and then he booked Bill for the State Palace reunion, and I popped in, and it's like we never skipped a beat, kind of like you and I.
Right.
The guy's just amazing.
Cool.
But going with what I was saying is, the Insomniacs are charging $700-800 a ticket, 3-day festival. These people are spending thousands of dollars. Let's average $2,000-3,000 a person.
Easily, yeah.
They don't have the money to go back-to-back festivals, especially when I can't provide them with the lineup that you're going to see in an Insomniac show or whatnot, because their radius clauses are absolutely insane.
Right.
They're paying top dollar for some of these artists, and these artists are content playing for those guys. They don't even care about going anywhere else.
Sure.
So, I mean, I have a niche market with you, thank God, and Bill, and, all still relevant artists, but still available. And I make them readily available to promoters like myself that were one of those guys that couldn't get anybody.
Right.
I got a call from a guy in Arizona. He goes, "Hey, I can't get any DJs. I just can't." Because, nobody knows who the guy is. He's done a couple of parties here and there, but he doesn't know who to call. Or insert whatever problem here. He just can't. Nobody's going to work with him. They don't even call him.
Right.
So I'm giving these other promoters a chance. As long as they pay their bills and do what they say they're going to do, and it's a good event, they're going places. But some of these people just don't know what they're doing as well. So I got to
right. And where can they? Let's give them the website.
Oh, it's PureForm Artists. Yeah, PureForm Artists with an S.com.
Okay.
and you'll catch yourself.
And you're on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
And website. But that with this with the lineup that I have in the roster, it's very open to any promoter that wants to do a show, or with some notable artists. Now you have some other people that are up and coming, like N808, he's on Dirty Bird. Goals, he's on Dirty Bird. These kids are very, very talented, but even I feel bad for them because it's hard for them to get a break.
Sure.
You know very well, you got to be a producer these days. If you're not a producer and an artist, you're not. It's very, very difficult to become a DJ that's wanted anywhere.
And you have to be a magician.
Yeah. Too. No, seriously. You've been relevant. You've been relevant in the game for so long. And
I took a little breather.
Yeah,
I took a little alcohol breather for about 15 years from production.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is back then I just didn't know. There wasn't really a way that I knew of how to promote an MP3. But then it's amazing how when I get sober, then I'm like, oh. Well, there's a platform right there that you can get it to 3,000 DJs like that. And then it's like, okay, game on, and then you don't feel like shit and you can actually execute. It's not just a good idea. It's a good idea that you can actually execute.
And
just like your roster,
Yeah, no, 100%. You just got to put the work in and have the attention span to kind of keep an eye on things, as opposed to before. It's like I'd much rather go have a drink right now than sit here and and spread my
then instead of compose this email.
Yeah, exactly. And you come back and it's still in your drafts a week or two later.
Right. Exactly.
You know the deal.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm very blessed to have a lot of these people and the artists such as yourself and Bill, because I'm pretty good friends with all you guys. And the reason that I had started the agency to begin with was I didn't like, to revert back, I didn't like doing parties anymore because it was just too much stress and I didn't have the time for it. So I'm like, how can I stay in the music industry and not throw parties? I was like, well, I could be a manager or I could start my own agency. In California, if you're an agent, you can't be a manager too. That's another reason we moved to Florida. So in Florida, you could be a manager and an agent together. It's not going to hurt anything. So
sure.
I'm still in the music industry. It's a revolving door with a lot of the buyers and so on and so forth. But I'm still in it, and I enjoy it. And I'm still giving back to the people that gave back to me so much over the years. And if I can help that little promoter out, that makes me happy as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you've built an impressive roster, and I applaud that. And then, all your appearances on the Ocho.
Yes, yeah. It's just two things that I love to do. And when you get to be our age, it's just you're so encompassed, and you put so much time and effort into certain projects and certain things.
Right. What else am I going to fucking do?
I don't want to. So
right. Exactly. You love it. It's your passion.
Yeah. It's what makes us happy. It might not make us rich, but that's, that's why we have the other business.
I mean, what is happiness?
Yeah.
Is happiness being rich?
I was happiest when
I know plenty of people that are loaded that are miserable.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And loaded financially.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just full circle with you and I. It's a pleasure to have you on the roster. I mean,
well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
The whole reason that I booked you in the first place is because I was trying to educate myself on music back then. I was never a DJ because I tried once and I was absolutely terrible. I never tried ever again.
Right. I was going to applaud you on that effort of not being an agent who also has a secondary agenda of being a career DJ as well. You are just strictly an agent.
Yes.
Or manager.
Yeah. I'm strictly on the other side.
All right.
Yeah.
And I applaud that, and I know other people do too.
Yeah, but it's just, I listened to your music and I was just like, man, this guy's a badass. And, we brought you out and obviously now we're still together. I popped by your house last time I was in Texas.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that reflection of what we had back then and just continuing on the relationship from here.
Yeah.
We're still doing what we do, and we're better people now, as opposed to I'm a better version of myself, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
It's cliche, but it is what it is.
Sure. Yeah, no. And then I always like to give the guest a chance to shout out whoever, because I know you want to shout out your lovely wife.
Oh yeah, Candy. We've been together for 25 years.
Right.
And to put up with me for that long, it's a feat within itself, especially.
Right.
I mean, she's seen
it's pretty impressive.
A to Z. She's seen it all.
Right.
There's no secrets there. And it's quite refreshing to have that portion of my life. It's one thing I don't have to worry about. That's emotionally, she's always there. She takes care of me. With when I get sick or my hips or insert whatever, she's such a positive person. Similar to yours, always smiling.
Yeah.
It's borderline annoying. Similar, always smiling, always happy.
Right. Right.
And we could be mad as hell, and they're like, oh, whatever, and it makes you smile. Yeah. It's amazing to have somebody like that. Fall back on, So, and shout out to people like yourself. I wouldn't have the roster without notable artists like yourself and Bill, and managing Ghetto Blaster with Paul. He's blowing up right now, and I'm just very blessed. 20 hours. I could go on for days with the roster because everybody's super bad. But the one thing I am thankful most for is that I was able to stop drinking and focus on real life shit. Without the hindrance of figuring out who am I going to piss off next.
Right.
Now, if I piss you off, I know I'm pissing you off.
Right. Exactly. It's intentional, dude. But yeah, and the thing is like, this is not the typical, alcohol's bad and blah, blah, blah podcast. It's just like, hey, it happens, and it can happen to anybody very innocently because, alcohol is just such a part of society, and it's just so normalized. We, like I said, with Christmas holidays, everything like that, you automatically are programmed to think, oh, well, alcohol's involved,
muscle memory.
And it's just a narrative that has been well crafted by the alcohol industry, and they have a superior marketing team. But and I'm just out there just to hopefully, maybe somebody that looks up to you as a paintballer or me as a DJ, that they can look and go, hey, if these guys can go through it and make it through there and have the resiliency, maybe we can inspire somebody else or even help somebody else.
100%. And it's not, some people are either shy or apprehensive about speaking about their past or whatnot.
Right.
I kind of embellish it, and I love that I have the knowledge I have to pass on. Or my in particular,
not embellish it, but relish.
Not embellish, yeah. But,
right.
my in particular situation, and just share. Everybody's situation is different, but so similar at the same time.
Sure.
And just I tell my friends all the time. It's like when we talked about ascites. When I first started, having those health issues, ascites is in your stomach, and they take a needle about that big and they stick it in your stomach. And they suck all that. They drain it all out. You want to talk about pain? Yeah.
I'm cringing just thinking.
Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I got that done.
Oh wow! You had to. Oh wow!
For months, I got that done. And I'm telling you, I tell my friends that they're like, well, and I say, let me see your blood work. And they're kind of weirded out by it at first, but I'm like, but I know what I'm talking about. When I see somebody's blood work, I can tell you exactly what the problem is. Right. And it's not something I'm proud of because it means I have to know, which I didn't want to in the first place.
Right. But, well, I mean, it happens, and you get default knowledge through, through your experience.
Stop being sober is the thing to do now. There's a lot of people doing it. It's kind of the cool thing to do. It really is.
Right.
And I don't want to see anybody go through what I went through.
Sure.
I feel bad for my wife. I feel bad for my friends because it is not fun by any means.
Right.
And then we were back to the fentanyl thing. I lost a good handful of friends in the past 3-4 years from fentanyl and over drinking or whatever it might be. Not this.
Well, and what's sad is, when people like kids, are just experimenting,
Yep.
Like we used to do, like back in the day. Oh, okay, here's this thing called ecstasy. It's fun.
Yeah.
Now it's like you think you're getting like a Percocet,
Yeah.
and then the next thing is you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is definitely scary, and I hope that fentanyl test strips become more prevalent. But honestly, there's people out there that will just be like, "Oh, it's got fentanyl, cool."
Yeah, 100%. You're 100% right. There are people out there that I know that told me, "Yeah, I'm addicted to this," and I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
Why?"
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, it's quick. It's quick, cheap, and readily available.
Yeah. So am I.
So. That's funny. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on. And then I guess everybody hit you up on the website, and then if they want to get a hold of you, or maybe talk to you about paintball or whatever.
I'm always available.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and then we will. We've got an exciting future ahead.
Of course, Kelly. It's always a pleasure, man. I'm glad you're in the roster, my friend. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me on, and thank you for being on. And then be sure subscribe to this Pink Cloud if you are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all that good stuff. Check out the music, Kelly Reverb. And then remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.